Thank you.
Beautiful song. If you haven't seen the music video, by the way, a lot of his music videos, I don't know how you do it, man. They're like a movie.
That's the grace of God and Christopher Aaron of Root Level Films, who saw, well, actually, that was a connection through a good friend of mine, and he asked me to sing at his wedding. I was featured on one of his songs, my boy's songs, Joaquin Rivers. Shout out to him one time. And then he heard me sing, and he's like, "You have a beautiful voice, man. I'm getting married next year. You want to sing my wedding?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." I didn't ask for anything. I was just like, "No, I don't care, whatever, I'm down." And then he's like, "Man, I want to do you a favor." And I was like, "What's the favor?" He's like, "I want to shoot your music video." I'm like, "You want to for singing?"
Look at that. If
like, you know,
when you watch a music video, you'll see why that was important. Because that was like on Hollywood level, like
he filmed
drone shots and like film slow motions, and
that was love. Because he brought a whole crew, and I was so used to delegating and hiring people and producing and doing all the things. And I remember even showing up, like he just got all his Hollywood buddies and all these people that do TV and film. And I'm like, this is a whole crew. And I'm looking at him like, bro, how am I supposed to pay for this? He's like, bro, you good? And I'm like, what you mean I'm good, dog? What are you saying? This is
signing it out of line.
It's looking like Netflix, my brother. Like, what are you saying? You know? And then, but that was the first time I kind of just sat back and was an artist, right? And I felt pretty good. And then we've done a few more projects after that. I like to act too, and I always wanted all my songs to feel cinematic, like short film. The next one would be like a monologue or things of that nature, and where we're trying to build. But I've worked with other videographers and cinematographers, but when I know I got something big and I want a story to tell, it's like, I'm going to him. How do we portray this? Let's go.
Yeah, man.
Not because of the crew. Our other stuff has been like 3 people, but whereas before it was like a whole situation. Now it's just like, all right, 2, 3, like you pulling funds, I pulling funds. Let's do it. All right, cool.
Nah, but it's always top notch. Like no
Love
one
you, Chris.
independently do that, man. Speaking of the weddings and stuff, so because people don't know this side to you, that you're not just an artist, you're a musician, but like on some business. I think this just, again, it comes from our culture. Like, we can't just do one thing. Because
trying to, child.
We can't just do one thing. Like, you guys know me, I'm a producer. I do a lot of production, but outside I do IT, but then outside of that I did XYZ, 1, 2, 4, whatever. Something. But like, what is something that you realize after being, because people don't know, like, you've been heavy in doing nonprofit stuff too, because
that was the origins of
Speak on that.
So I always try to be as honest and as I possibly can. The introduction to the nonprofit space was actually through one of my exes and good friend. Well, not clearly, but at the time, and we used to work. Well, she used to work for Orphan Starfish. But even before that, like I would always volunteer at the churches or churches for the most part.
That's what we all did.
That's what it is. So I was like, oh man, can I come through? Yeah, sure, whatever. It's like, come to the office, and I'm just like, all right. I'm like, I like to give people space, but all right, cool, I'll come to the office, whatever. I'll do what I need to do. But then through that, I got involved, and then we had a trip to Haiti, and I'm like, oh, I can't miss this. Like, this is my home, right? And then I got into contact with another NGO by the name of Hello Haiti. That's when I really started to branch off away from Orphan Starfish, which is still doing incredible things. There's still love. It's just, I've been there. And I got a chance to meet a few other orphans that have been affected by the earthquake. But even before that, that orphanage had been set up in Haiti, and it was through Elizabeth and Sarah Kennedy, who's out in Connecticut. It was kind of amazing, too, because she's like this, I don't even know what her background, like, I'm just guessing, I don't know, English, something Irish, I don't know, but she started speaking Creole, and I was like, hold on, what? Like, you speaking fluent Creole, low-key at the time better than me. And then I sponsored a kid, and I just felt like I had to continue going back and forth. And I've done many galas for them just out of love. Teach for America, that was a cool time.
Oh, you did Teach for America?
It was well, I just donated one of my bands. Right. What was another one? What's that one? Make-A-Wish Foundation. That was Post the Voice, and it was just a Make-A-Wish Foundation, New York City, where one of the kids just wanted to meet me. I'm like, why? Like, and it was like Post the Voice. I'm like, why? Because I didn't really. When you come from New York City, there's always some celebrity. Somebody either did A Voice or American Idol or toured with such and such. It's just all right.
Work with Diddy, of course.
I don't know about that, but I ain't throwing shade. I'm just saying.
Yeah, right.
And then what was a fun one? I guess even my work, if you will, like just for the love of it. My mom always taught me if you on the trains, like carry like $1, carry like $2.
That's exactly.
What I mean?
Always have an envelope system.
So that's a lot of that NGO work. And if God willing, I have my own NGO and I have my own NGO one day. But
yeah, it's interesting because a lot of people, and I keep reiterating everybody. My big break didn't come from the music industry working with artists. It came from the industry of humanitarianism, like nonprofits. Like the first big placement that I ever had working with Marvel and Spider-Man was through an orphanage in Haiti.
It's crazy.
So people think, you're playing around New York. This, like that playing around in New York and working with artists didn't give me a big break. It was actually being present, in an organization that didn't really need me, but the fact that I was Haitian, I was working with an orphanage, and they needed X, Y, and Z, and I was there. So one thing I want to emphasize, if you're in the industry of, let's say, film, or if you want to do music stuff, sometimes your big break doesn't come in working in your industry. It comes in the place where they're looking for talent, or they're looking for a place where they could park and help humanitarian aid, because that's not where we are. Like us, those people that are looking for us, they're not looking for us in the industry. They're looking for people in the nonprofit. So I feel like people miss that. And I try to tell everybody, anytime I'm in a podcast, like, yo, I got successful because I worked and I helped someone solve a problem, not because I did this.
Yeah.
And I wanted people to hear that from me, because I feel like people, they have a big idea. It's like, oh, I'm going to be big. It was like, yo, like, you can be big, but if you can't solve a problem for somewhere else, and
what are you?
You know what I'm saying? So I hope everyone take that into perspective so you can hear it from him. Because
how are you? Like, it's funny because I'm also a realtor in New York City, but even that's a hustle.
Yeah.
I'm still a realtor, but since then I realized how much I've neglected music for a few years. But I remember saying this word that I'm going to say now: servitude. Like, in what ways are you of service? And this guy said, "Don't you ever say that." And I'm like, "Why not?" And they were like, you're giving your power to the other person. And I said, well, I mean, not really. I'm just helping out the best I could. I want to be of service. So I get what he's trying to say, but how are you helpful, right? And that's when I recognized that at the time, at least, I wanted my artistry to reflect that. Did I? No, I don't know. No, I never deviated at all. No. Do you forget that, that part of you sometimes, because, and that's just me being, honest, where you want the success and the fame and the glory and the lights, but then it's remembering that actually the fame, the glory, and the lights isn't what it's about, right? When it's purposeful and you want something to be impactful and that is timeless. That's low-key why I study, I call them the age of the legends back in like the 70s, 80s, these mega stars. They were all impactful and purposeful. I'm not going to say all, but the ones we clearly remember were impactful in some sort of way. And that's what I wanted to reflect my artistry.
This is a big major gem sauce. You can't find this on TED Talk. Literally, like, you can't go to school and learn this. You had to really be on the ground level. And I had to read it, like, really confirm what you're saying, because I looked at everything that I've done up to this point, and I realized I made more impact outside of my industry, and I'm being more in demand in the industry, outside, doing stuff outside. And I was like, it don't make no sense, but it does make sense, because it's like when you give and you don't really care what you get from return, but if someone else sees that you're able to do that, and like, wait, time out, they did this, it almost draws a appeal to you. That way you don't have to work hard to get opportunity, because people see you as an opportunity, and it comes back. It comes back.
You're not thinking about it, but
you don't have to think about it.
But it comes back.
We live that life, So now let's talk about post. See, my Brooklyn accent, post voice.
I don't know if that's Brooklyn, dog.
The Brooklyn poise. Metrocard.
Metrocard.
Metrocard. See, my Brooklyn accent comes out every once in a while. But post the voice. Now, one thing is very interesting. You I don't know how much you can say because you're out of the restrictive covenant of the contract, so you can say whatever you want. And you won't.
I can say anything I want now.
Okay, good. So we noticed that how they treat the talent in the voice is not the same people who like got signed, whatever. Because I noticed, I looked down the roster. There's a lot of the artists that were in your class, and some went further and they stopped, and others just you don't hear from them. Like you, not because you're my man, but like I actually contact some of the people that was in your class. No one has been doing what you've been doing. Like after that, okay, you did the record, you did a music video, and then you did the whole, stuff around Brooklyn with the, the Russian industry and the wedding industry. And then you did the whole residency to Dubai. Like, how are you able to? Because obviously that's just one little area of like people don't realize like that little piece of fame. That's nothing compared to like putting in the work. Like, how are you able to transition of like, okay, I'm nationally known, but it's like in the back of my mind, it's like, yo, I gotta do something else because it seems everyone in some form of red tape or broken promises, but you actually took what you did and like, okay, I'm gonna do something else. How did you know when, okay, I need to do that? Because it seems to me like the level playing field has been even. So it's like there's no excuse for anybody to like, how did you know, okay, I gotta do this now?
The hustler's mindset. I mean, like you said, it's the culture. One, I think definitely Haitian culture, but definitely New York culture. Yeah, for sure. Whilst on the show, to be honest with you, I didn't even realize I was on the show till like my third round. Like it was like an inner outer body experience. I was like, and it's funny. That's usually when things kind of come, is when you kind of let go and you don't care. Even coming on the show. But I won't, go too deep. Off the show, I knew that I needed to leverage the name, and I knew I had X amount of years because, we live in a microwave generation, and before the show, to the best of my ability, I understood artist business on a very basic level and just leverage, right? Was I the best at it? No.
Explain leverage for those who don't know on the camera.
Well, for example, let's see The Rock. The Rock has Terramana Tequila, right?
Dwayne Johnson.
Dwayne Johnson has Terramana. He leverages his name for it to be successful. Whereas if I were to release Terramana, it's not gonna, I'm not gonna say that. Let me not speak that existence. But my level of fandom, it's like taking whatever fandom that you have and being able to attach your brand to that, and that's like instant marketing on top of that too. So leveraging your brand in front of millions of people and thousands, whichever may be. So knowing that I had X amount of
value, equity,
right, and
like equity, like
almost. Yeah, like, and I had 2 viral moments on The Voice, which was crazy because again, inner outer body experience. I didn't realize I was on the show till like my third round. I was like, oh, I think I got to do this. But yeah, like after the show, I re-released Find Me Here because Find Me Here was already out, but the music video had already been out. The music video and the song was already out. I kind of repurposed it and repackaged it. And I was like, hey, brand new single, Find Me Here. That's been up on YouTube.
It did better after.
Oh my God, it jumped up by I think sense. Right now it's still on. I mean, it's humble, but for an indie, it's like a good solid 30K. But that was immediate, and I saw what I could do with that. So I just decided, you know what? There was this thing called So Far Sounds, and I knew So Far Sounds allowed me to do actually moments like this. So this is also kind of full circle too, like being able to perform by myself and hold down a crowd. My ability to perform and kind of read the room, etc. And I just went from different cities, from Boston to DC to Philly to Cali, Detroit, and just pushed my name the best I could. And again, I had just finished working with the Russian scene, and the Russian scene kind of gave me a lot of funds, right, and funding, and they appreciated this talent. And again, a lot of this was, they just take care of me financially, right? So I was able to fund myself and make it make sense. And if I had to stay with somebody, I'll stay at somebody's place. Or if I didn't, I didn't, And if I need to hire...
Did the Elon Musk...
I don't know what he did, but
So Elon Musk, there's a joke, there's a meme, like Elon Musk, he has all this money, but he actually don't really have a house, so he kind of like stays in friends' household, which is smart because obviously, depending on the market.
well, I wish I stayed. Well, I mean, I couldn't stay, of course. I don't want it to be anybody.
No, of course. You're just traveling by,
Yeah, like, because, these flights are expensive at the end of the day. But I also had points, and, miles because of the voice, too. So I'm going to use that and to use that. And it's a hustler's mindset. A lot of my contemporaries didn't do that. I'm proud of the ones that have, but like you said.
coming out with some stuff now, yeah.
Yeah, but even then, it's and it's not just my season. I think that's just anybody who doesn't understand the business behind it. There's a hustle, there's a grind. And then beyond the hustle and grind, there's a knowledge. Then there's a knowledge and there's a trial and error. Post quarantine, I low-key gave up being an artist because I did like an audit of my artistry and saw where I went wrong. And I'm like, I'm not treating this like a business. Even though subconsciously I was, it was like the entrepreneur that's not taking care of his LLC. And then I was like, oh man, I'm messing up. Oh man, I was not even calculating my marketing budget, but I was doing marketing, but I didn't have a budget. I just threw it in there.
What was the indicator? You was like, okay, what was the first step that you did? Now we're transitioning more into the business aspect of the artistry. We talked about the creative process. We talked about our upbringing and our influences. Now we're going to talk more on the business. How did you know, okay, I got to legitimize my moves? Like, what was the first thing that you had to do?
How to legitimize my moves? In what context?
You leverage off of being national known.
Yeah.
Then you know, okay, you was getting money and you're reinvesting in yourself. How you were able to now take what you learned from there? And what was the first thing you did? Okay, obviously after making an LLC, but like, what was something that you needed to do, or like, because you had to do that here, then you did gigs. Like, how did you start off?
Well, believe it or not, being in real estate kind of helped me do all that. So I'm kind of in that transitionary period, if you will, because as an artist, a full-fledged artist, not featuring anything, I technically took 3 years off, technically. Mm-hmm. But God is so good where all these places that I have been to when I did my European solo tour, and that was even, like, I just wanted to do it because my friend out of Norway said, come, like, they'll take care of my lodging. I said, well, it's in January. I know flights are cheap in January. Let me kind of hop and stay at different hostels or wherever it may be and find out where I can play.
That's very
and
smart.
Get to know where I can play. Smart. Just because I've always wanted to sing, and I was tired of waiting for somebody to give me the opportunity. Like, no, I'm going to make it myself.
That's the mentality where we came from. It goes right back. Like, for example, like, even doing this podcast, I'm super excited, but I'm nervous because even doing media work, marketing, I've done so much work with so many else. And it's like, now I'm like, wait, time out. I'm doing it myself. Oh, crap. I got to show my face. I'm at the point where, like, I don't care. I'm in ripped jeans. I'm not shaved. This is how I am. But with the idea of you saying that makes me realize how important it is to be the self-starter. Like, you know my band, C'est La Vie. We do every third Sundays at the White Hart. And it's crazy because, I want to put this guy, Keith, on a highlight. This guy right here. He pushes me here, and having the studio here, and Brad jumping on, like, really having a community and having something that, okay, what problem always, and it's not always for me, but what's the problem that I want to solve in this town, because we were spoiled being in New York. Like, Mondays we go, okay, you got the producer Mondays, and then
crazy. Sundays
before it was the Village Underground. Like, we always had stuff in New York. I was like, man, how can I bring just a little bit of that here? And again, starting at your own.
Well, yeah, but I was going to say that's because of those 3 years that I had off, but also because of that European tour, I connected with so many other musicians, artists, producers, and some producers and friends. I had, not during that time, but post-quarantine, well, actually during quarantine, I recorded a few songs that didn't get released until last year. So, and within like a year and a half time frame, excluding 2024, it looked as if I was releasing music, when really they decided
stockpiling until everyone. Yeah.
I don't even know why. I think one day I just reminded them. I was like, "Yo, bro, I'm gonna be in Italy." He's like, "Okay, what's up, man?" It's like, "Yo, remember that song?" I was like, "Okay, cool." And then out of nowhere, just like 1 month after another month. Now, mind you, in my mind, I'm no longer an artist. This is in my mind at least, like an artist. I'm now a musician, business owner, because I do entertainment where private events, private weddings, private wedding, of course, weddings private, weddings and then private entertainment. So in my mind, I'm just hustling. I'm just trying to survive. They're like, yo, Zaxai, sign this contract, sign this release, whatever, maybe whatever, song's coming out. It wasn't up until somebody asked for my song, one of my songs, that I said, oh yeah, let me just go on my Spotify. And I'm like, whoa, when did all this happen?
Yeah,
like,
when you released that dance show, I was like, oh, you doing EDM now, bro? It's like that rave. It sounded amazing though. I was like, yo, when did you do this?
Man, years ago, and that's the funny part. So
Wow.
now the Spotify jumped by like, I think I'm at 102,000.
At one point I saw.
At one point, it was
I saw like it was in the 200,000s. It was
Yeah.
that first dance song.
And I was like, last I checked, it was definitely 333 monthly listeners.
That
You know what I
crazy.
mean? But so, and to the public, it'll look like there's a season of Zaxai that's a deep house, trans house artist, and I'm just like, I guess I am.
No, but,
You know?
but what happened to your back catalog? They saw, oh, who's this singer? And then they looked at your stuff, and your stuff jumped too. After that.
I just did like a bunch of songs, and they took my vocals and they just put on top of records, and so to the public, I never skipped a beat, but I skipped the whole beat. But I'm thankful because I needed that break to understand music business, marketing, why I went wrong. Do I really want to do this? Do I love this? Where am I as an artist? Where am I as a person? What content? And I'm thankful for that because now I'm at a place where I feel like I know my purpose within the music, where I want to go, how I want to release it, what I want to do, where I want to do it, how I want to do it. And it's going to be like, to the 100 and something thousand people that's expecting a dance house record, they're going to be mighty surprised when it's a...
Yeah, we cooked up something this weekend.
But I'm sure they're going to like it because...
They're going to love it, man. It's right back to the almost post-rendezvous.
Yeah. So it's gonna be fun, and I'm thankful. And there were records that I said, listen, Finn, I need your help on, man. And it makes sense. 10 years, well, now 11 years, but 10 years of Kai would not make sense to release a project full circle and not have Finestro be a part of that. So
Because for those who wasn't here earlier, the project that was released, it was literally a year after I moved here, 2016. I got married. He was one of my groomsmen. So it was great that, and then months later, then you went to The Voice, and then after that, you was on all this other stuff. So
legit.
now, right back to 2024, we're back here. It's almost we haven't skipped a beat. You know what I'm saying?
We never really did, because to be candid, not because he's my boy too. There's a lot of, I consider like different mentors and seasons in my life. I could start from the beginning musically. I don't know why. I've always been able to see this is my mentor for the season. This is my mentor for the season. And some mentors don't even come in the form of like good mentors. They just come in the form of this is where I don't want to be. But Finn, since we were younger, and it was just, even to be honest, a surprise to me.
We're basically the same age, bro. don't act like I'm old. I'm not old,
but
bro.
I'm saying, I'm 3 years older than my big brother. Younger
man,
brother.
We the same age, bro.
We are the same age for the most part. But when you think about like Jose's my big brother to this day.
We sharpen each other.
Heavy sharpen, you know what I mean?
We sharpen
But
each other.
Finn has sharpened me in a different way. And even I didn't realize that, you know what I mean? It took me until Revelation, kind of sit down, recognize what people play certain roles in your life, right? And, Finn has definitely been a part of that. Even to this day, like there are times where I'm not even, like, or at home, like I just received a random text, and I'm like, huh. And there was a season, I don't even know how this man knew what was going on. I'm just like,
I pray.
What is this guy
My wife. I blame my wife.
saying right now? That was you.
Let me tell how it happened. So my wife was like, "Hey, when's the last time you spoke to Alberto?" I was like, maybe a couple months." And it was the time after you went from. It was when you, in the middle of your residency in Dubai. So you was like, the Spirit of God spoke to my wife, and I was like, you know what? I need to contact you, see what's happening, and. Just how spiritual I am. When I pray, God downloads so many things that don't make sense. And I just send you texts like, hey, is this happening? And literally, we haven't contacted each other for maybe 3 months or so. Yeah. Everything that I texted him that I felt God was sharing with me, it was
spot on.
It was spot on. So this is how I know that in protection too, because I felt like there's a season in your life that when I was younger, I was in somewhat of a rebellious stage. It was way before I met my wife. Way before. This is like 2 years after I left Liberty, New York, and the whole, whole not party life, but like just finding my way. I felt like even when it was like 24, 25 years old, traveling on my own, going to Germany, going to Paris, and like in the wrong places, but I met right people, but not in the right time in my life, and realizing like, yo, you kind of set your path, and then I'm now married, and like you're like doing that thing. I felt like God already opened my eyes to see what I needed to tell him in that season. So I was very thankful, and he was actually there for a lot of people don't know. He was there for me prior to meeting my wife. He was there for me in my season, my what they call that season, my outside the cover.
It was in the streets.
Yeah, he actually he was very gracious. He was actually there for me when I was in the streets. Hypothetically,
If it belonged to the streets, no.
He was there. No, seriously, he was there before. Like, so I felt like we matured, and
I hope so, because I'm not trying to, not.